let me welcome all to the webinar, especially our alumni who have taken the time out of the weekend. And in fact, Karthik here is joining us from the US late night, and that to a Friday night. So really appreciate that. Would be insightful for all of the participants today, those who are looking to pursue this program, because I think there are a lot of things that you can learn about the program by going through the website, the prospectus, and all of that. But nothing like learning from the experience of others who have been through the same journey, right? And what we have here is an opportunity to learn about the experience of senior alumni from across different batches, right? Some have completed this maybe a couple of years back, right? For example, Karthik, I think you just completed last year, right? And whereas
that's
Mr.
correct. Yeah, last year. Yeah.
But yeah, we have Mr. Balaji who has graduated in 2014, 9 years back. So you'll also get different perspectives in terms of looking back from somebody who has just done that to somebody who has it's almost been out there a decade in the industry after the program, right? Also, our panelists today represent multiple industries. Mr. Balaji comes from manufacturing, from turbo energy. Mr. Suratna Das, he has been multiple areas like investment banking, to advisory services, to now leading a startup in the mobility services, right? So you have a startup founder perspective, and Mr. Karthik, who has been in the technology services, both in India and in the US. So you have diverse perspectives. In fact, I was just checking where everybody is located, and all four of us are in different locations. Mr. Balaji is in Chennai, I am in Hyderabad. Mr. Suratna is in Bombay, and Karthik is in Arizona. Karthik? Yeah, Arizona in the US. So you have diversity of from every possible angle, right? So I'm sure it's going to be quite insightful. What I'll do is maybe have opening comments from all our panelists, and then we'll take up some questions, both from the audience, and I think some of the questions which we think may help you learn more about the program. So maybe starting with the senior most alumni here, Mr. Balaji, welcome to the session. While Manat already gave a quick intro, I'd request you to talk a little bit more about your journey prior to the XPM and post that. And I know that you have been in one company for a very, very long time, Turbo Energy. And Turbo Energy has been a great partner for Great Lakes as well over the years. I think many people have been nominated for the XPM program. So we value that. So over to you, Mr. Balaji, and request you to share your journey.
Thank you, Mr. Gautam. Am I audible?
Yes.
Very good. So thanks for this opportunity. It's always an opportunity for us to give back to the institute that has helped us in our careers. So it has done a lot of good things to us. So it's always a pleasure to go back to Great Lakes. More than as an industry expert, I would love to be called as a student. I'm always a student of Great Lakes. So it is always a pleasure to be with you. And like Mr. Gautam said, I take the privilege of being the first person nominated from Turbo Energy to join Great Lakes. So the proof of the pudding is eating. There are about 12 people who have followed me and done this course. Almost every year we nominate somebody. So it tells about the value that it adds to both to the individual as well as to the industry. So it is a good way to start the discussion. I am Balaji. I started my career. I'm a hardcore mechanical engineer. I did my engineering, then my post-graduation in engineering. I was a shop floor man. So it was like I was looking for opportunities to get into the top league. So there was something that was missing at that point in time. So it was the challenge with the hardcore operation man is we are always transactional. When we are very transactional, it's not so easily connecting with the top management who are always strategical. So there was something that was missing. And I thought, okay, let me do this PGXPM in Great Lakes. It was all like it. I would say it as a flashback. If I go back the years, it all happened in sudden, maybe in a week's time. Somebody from Great Lakes sent me a catalog. I said, why can I not join this? Then I got my management approval. I was a sponsored candidate from the company. So I joined Great Lakes. So like when I went into the classroom first day, it was like a shocker for me. The person sitting next to me was the country head of Godrej. And person sitting in front of me was the HR head of, at that point in time, he was Amalgamation Group. So like, it was like, you already have stalwarts sitting around you. I had about 35 people, around 30 people around in my batch. There were CFOs, there were people from the IT industry, there were people from the auto industry. The president of WAPCO was part of my batch. So it was, I would say, like a senior league. It was like entering into a golf course on a Sunday. It was all elite group. And I thought whether I'm lost somewhere. But it was a good opening for me to join this league. Then I started aligning myself to the changing needs of the business. If you take a course like this, I would divide it into 3 phases. One is what you learn in the classroom. I would say you get the best of faculties. We got all the best of faculties like Raghu Iyer, Mr. Veeravalli, Ishwar, Mr. Bharatwaj. I can list all of them. Though it is 10 years back, I can even remember the name of the course, name of the professor, probably even I can recall their dialogues. So that is one, what you learn in the classroom. The second portion is what you learn from your peers. We got absolutely good quality of peers where we helped each other. We are still friends. Even last evening, we connected together. We had a short chat. So the second portion that you get from such courses is the peer network that you're able to generate. And third thing that we have to do is, once you're out of this course, I am 9 years out of Great Lakes. The learning does not stop once you're out of Great Lakes. So that is one more thing is what you do to keep yourself continuously upgraded. So I did my certain programs in IIM Ahmedabad. Then I did some HRM program in XLRI. So I did some analytics program in CIA. So I keep myself engaged so that I'm abreast with what is happening around the world. At the time when I was a student in Great Lakes, I was about the third in line heading beyond the head of my department. Now I'm heading the department. I'm heading procurement team in TEL. We do sourcing of about 2,000 crores. So a mechanical engineer, I would honestly say that last 8 years, the number of times I went to the shop floor has come down. It should be only 20% of my time. The balance 80% comes from more of the commercials, the people interaction, your networking. So all those things are really the order of the day. And it is like you're also handling people from the new millennium who are all tech savvy. So it was also this Great Lakes program transformed me from a mechanical person into a tech savvy person. I'm active on almost all social media. I'm also interacting with all my teams. So it is good that we don't feel that we are getting old. Gautam introduced me as the senior most person in this group. So I don't think I'm that old. So that is to start with.
Just a senior most alumni. You're still young.
Hopefully, I think I should also be the senior most by age. Good. So that is brief about me. Anything else could I add? That's it. Sure. And as I said, it's more of extempore. So I'm open as and when it comes.
Yeah, I think we'll just have a freewheeling conversation. I just wanted like, the initial sharing of journeys so that everybody knows, what your experience has been in terms of, and the perspective in terms of what the background was, right? So we'll move to Mr. Suratna Das. Suratna, if you can also share your journey and you have done many interesting things across very different areas, right? And as well as having your own startup now. So yeah, it would be quite interesting to hear that.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Great Lakes team for initiating this. Basically, just to give you a quick background on after how many years of working, I finally decided to do my MBA. I started working in 2004 and I joined Great Lakes in 2018. So I was part of, it took me 14 years after which I decided to actually complete this course. And the main reason being I was an investment banker, and then I decided to do something in operational side. So actually, I was part of the founding team that uh, uh, started a skincare brand catering to salons, but the business failed. So I was lost, I was confused because there was no clarity on any of the aspects as such. Obviously, WorkX helped me decide on several factors, uh, but clarity was lacking. So that's when I got the opportunity to do my MBA from Great Lakes. And as Bala Ramakrishnan just mentioned, I agree with him all the points. It teaches you to be a student for life. Uh, the course itself, the professors, the staff, everyone around, it's a shift in mindset more than anything else, and it gives you a clear vision or a clear way each one wants to go. So that's what Great Lakes did for me. It actually educated me. I learned a lot on getting clarity on whatever aspects whatever aspects you're interested in. It gives you total clarity in that field or in that subject or in that area basically. So yeah, I'm so grateful to them. And after I completed Great Lakes, we are the first batch that was in the middle of lockdown. 2020, my last term was in I think in March 2020. That was like peak lockdown. I just started back then. So after I actually complete my course, I got an opportunity to be the CEO of a skincare brand, a mid-market skincare brand that caters to masses across India. So that was the opportunity I got from before my MBA program and after I completed my MBA program. And of course, later on, I always wanted to have my own business. And the clarity I received from Great Lakes has now helped me start this company 3 years back. 2020, I started this company. So that is my journey in a nutshell, and I'm so grateful. And one more point I'd like to make is that the founder of Great Lakes, Bala or Uncle Bala, as he was called, I'm so grateful because I got to he got to teach us a batch. Okay, the last two terms he got to teach a batch. I'm so grateful to him also, because he's a great visionary, and this him speaking itself will make you understand so many things. And I would like to say kudos to the team of Great Lakes. They're fantastic.
Thank you so much. Suratna, if you can also talk a bit about your startup, like what you're into.
So we have set up a gallery. The reason I call it a gallery is because we're curating the best brands in India, because it's a new industry for catering to electric cycles. We are the only dealer. We are the only gallery in India, probably, or dealership, so that you understand, a dealership that caters to renting, servicing, as well as selling, not just servicing, and not just renting. We are in all three. So we are competing with uh, Be Life company in the sales space. We are competing with Yulu in the renting space, and we are also competing with people who are servicing in the servicing space. So all three, that's a US. In a nutshell, I hope that makes you understand better. We've tied up with the best brands in India. Not yet outside India. All the best brands in India we've already tied up with, and our renting business has started, and servicing with hired. We've trained our staff, our technicians. So we sell, we rent, and we service. We're the only company in India doing all three.
Oh, great. Karthik, you just completed last year, and I think last year you were there in the webinar, and where you had just about submitted your project, did an overnighter, right?
Exactly. Yeah, this is second webinar, Gautam. Yeah, you got it right.
So how?
Last year,
So then you had just completed. Now 1 year into the
1
industry,
year
and I
old.
think you changed locations as well. So why don't you
Exactly. Yeah.
share your journey?
Sure, sure. Yeah, as Gautam was saying, this is my second webinar, and last year I think I had the privilege to share with Shailen Merchant, the HR head of Murugappa, and also with Satya, who was with HP, right? And this year I now have the privilege to share with Balaji and Mr. Suratna, right? So great. I think this alumni network itself is one added advantage, right? That the prospective students are going to get into, which I think it's tough to get in or crack, right? So such a rich elite alumni group, which is going to be your friends for life, right? So that is irrespective of all other advantages you are going to get out of this program, this is always going to be the icing on the top, right? So that's one thing. So starting off with my journey, and I think the actually the I wouldn't say it's the worst part, but still the bad part is that you end up talking last, where all your points are already stolen. But you still, the good point is that you become creative of what you can talk, right? So I think most of the creamy or whatever, I think to sum it up, I think Balaji and Suratna already gave all the creamy points, which I concur or echo or whatever you want to put a verb, right? So I do that. I am pure play IT guy, but I envy Mr. Balaji, right? Because I'm a hardcore mechanical engineer by education. So I completed my engineering in mechanical, but IT sucked me in, or I don't know, I would say that, or I got sucked in there. So from there, I was born and brought up in Infosys, right? So that's where most of my career in IT was nurtured, fostered, everything, right? So, and with Infi, I was able to get into different domains, different technologies, different roles, again, different geographies. So it was a great exposure to me. Mm, Outside of IT, also a lot of business areas, business domains, like, and I spend most of my timing in healthcare or health insurance, right? The US health insurance. So that domain I was able to expertise. So, and things were going fine, but I already thought, and something that I can echo with what Suratna was saying is, even I decided to pursue my MBA after 14 years, right? I joined the career in 2006 and I started my MBA in 2020. So, same 14 years after WorkX. That's where I thought is that mid-time career crisis comes in, right? So you don't know where to move, what to do. Should I get into technical? Should I get into management? Should I get into consulting? What is my best path? So a lot of those ideas come into picture, and this course for sure it's going to be a torchbearer for you to show you what is your interest. And again, some of the other points to bring up and summit, right? Like the peer group. Why I bring the peer group at this juncture is you learn a lot from them based on what your strength is, what the area is you want some help or support, right? Apart from the great stalwart professors and the academic staff that you have, the peer network will for sure help you to find out what are the other revenues. How does the HR operate? We feel, because there was this great debate, right? Even in the classroom, whenever HR talks, people will say, "End of the day, you are HR," but they bring a lot of value, a lot of different perspective. They see a long picture. Same thing is marketing. Same thing with finance. And yes, to at least it was surprising for me, right? Because I had a batchmate who was a doctor by profession. He is a lab director, and he was already well settled, and he was in Dubai being a lab director for a leading lab company. But he wanted to do something, venture out on his own. So he found Great Lakes to be a PGXPM to a best course that can help him. And obviously people from finance background, we had CFOs in our batch, we have entrepreneurs, right? Like family entrepreneurs or new venture entrepreneurs. So all those people for sure is going to bring out some few stuff which you would not have thought about, or you would have thought, or you would not have deep dived. So those are some of the avenues where it will help you to find out what next you can do, right? Apart from the course itself, right? It's a blend. This was I told in the last webinar also, right? So for sure, when people come to this course, they will be mostly be a high profile, right? That they are depth into one particular area. The specialty of this course is that converting you from a high profile to a T profile, wherein you start being generalist, right? Because if you want to be a CEO of a company, you if you're just only in finance function, it's going to be very tough. You can be a CFO, but you can never be a CEO. So for CEO, you need to understand the finance terms, you need to understand the market where you are competing against, or you want to understand how you can uh, cut down your cost with technical specialization, and you need to know how you can treat your employees with your HR policies. So all of these things are required for you to be in that C level, right? So that is what this course is aiming for. It's not going to help you to go deep dive in your particular domain, but for sure it's going to open your eyes all other domains, right? For sure, the recent additions like we have blockchain, we have AI, and we have the entrepreneurship. We have a lot of new, and we have this statistics now, which gets into the machine learning, right? Not just statistics. So all these technical additions are going to be are going to help you. It's not that they are going to test your programming capability. No, for sure not. But at least they tell you what is this technology about, how it is going to help you or in your career or in your venture, right? So that is about this course, and my background is this. After this course, it has helped me to move locations, handle or get into a higher capacity of role within the same company, though. But yes, this course for sure will try to help you to be a multi-speciality, and I am also trying small multi-specializations in pockets, which I hope at some point of time is going to hit high. But yes, apart from my the core job, IT job, I also trying to do some pockets of specializations on my own interest, where the interest was triggered by the course, but I'm just trying to catch that line and take it forward, right? So these are on a whole, Gautam. I'm also open if you wanted to add or any pointed questions. I'm there to help or provide my perspective.
I remember you mentioned one, last year that during the course of the program itself, you changed your jobs, right? I think you were
Yeah,
earlier in Infosys, then you moved to Wilco,
yeah,
and now in the next year you moved to US from
yeah,
India, right? So
yeah,
that's quite a bit of change happening.
yeah,
And again, I think one of the themes. Let me quickly capture some of the themes that's across mentioned by all the panelists, right? One, I think it's a journey, not just something that um, the program is something that you do and you leave it there. It's a continuous journey, whether it's in terms of learning and following up on different areas that you're exposed to, right, but want to further specialize on, which is relevant for your own areas, right? Second, about, I think one thing that came out common across was about the quality of faculty, right? And second was the quality of the peers, right? And I do believe that in a program like this, where you have people from the industry at least 8 years to all the way 25, 30 years, and a lot of people are around that, middle, mid career, right? 14, 15 years and similar spans. There is so much value brought in by the participants itself, right? Apart from faculty, and there's as much learning from each other as it would be from the faculty, right? The objective of the program and the faculty is to facilitate that learning, right, in groups across the class, and that also continues post the program, where you can always reach out to some expert in a different area where you want to learn more, right? So that network would always be there. So I thought those were just some of the things that came out, right? And we'll follow up that, let's say, in more detail now on different areas. Mr. Balaji, you had something to add?
Yeah, like Mr. Karthik said, by doing this program, I'm not going to challenge my CFO, but my CFO knows that the financial terms that he is going to use is going to be known by me. I could make sense from what he is going to do. I can never replace a chartered accountant. So like what you're going to do here is you have a depth in your own core field. It also helps to improve your wide width of the field. You know, you understand about different terms used by different functions. So when you get as a CEO, when you get a report, you could make sense from what they're trying to say. But any day, you always can go back to the experts. So that is one thing that you get equipped with this course.
I think we have a question, and again, for all the other participants, feel free to ask questions in the Q&A tab, which would be at the bottom of your screen. There's one question on what are the differentiating factors of this course versus those offered by others, example ISP. let's say, it would be very hard to, let's say, compare, right? It makes sense to compare when one has been through like multiple courses, right, to be able to give a like-to-like comparison. But I think panelists already talked about what this particular program brings to the table and how that has helped them in their journeys, right? As Mr. Balaji mentioned, when he was doing the program, he was, let's say, 3 levels away from the being a business head, right? While he's now managing sourcing business for almost 2,000 crores as head of a business, and as well as being able to interact and discuss with the rest of the senior management, right? And to be able to do that, as you said, being able to be comfortably positioned to converse with the CFO, right? So those are what the program brings in. But any of you who participated in the program, if you like to add what is, let's say, unique about the program, or what value in terms of something specific that it added. So Balaji or Karthik, you'd like to take that up? I mean, not the any comparison, but in terms of let's say about the program itself, like what made you pick the program for? I think that's a better way to put it, right? I'm sure you would have also evaluated many other programs. So what made you pick it up? I think that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, I can't make a comparison with ISB because I have not done a course in ISB. So
Yeah.
that is to start with. Why I chose Great Lakes was, at that point in time, one is the brand name of Great Lakes, what it brought to the table. Next is Dr. Bala. He brings the best in the business to the class. There's no like what he said is, he will be having a CFO in a classroom. So if he's going to bring a run-on-the-mill professor who is going to talk about finance, the CFO, the bluff will be called in few seconds. So there is no compromise on the faculties that you bring into the class. For example, for global finance management, we had Mr. Anant Nageshwaran, who took us the session for global finance management. Today, he is the financial advisor to Nirmala Sitharaman. So it is not that we compromise on the faculties. Just like that, you don't pass the time. You complete the curriculum with the best-in-class faculty. That was my experience. I don't have idea about other institutions, but when you talk about a subject, for example, when you talk about international business management, Professor Vaidyanathan, he came and he took us the session. So it is like you bring the best of best faculty in the curriculum, and we talk relevant subject. It's not that you talk something that is happening in the United States, this is happening here and all. We talk subjects which are relevant. We had Vijay Menon, Professor Vijay Menon, who talked culture in the context of India, not going by the standard textbook, talking something about the global cultures and all those things. You speak something which is really relevant to you, the day-to-day, what you're going to handle. So that selection of faculties was one thing that was really good in Great Lakes after I joined Great Lakes. But the thing that brought me into Great Lakes was the brand Great Lakes and Dr. Bala's name. So I could see the value that it could bring back to me.
Incidentally, Dr. Bala was both the founder of ISB and Great Lakes. So there are some commonalities, but one of the reasons founder Great Lakes was also he felt would offer a superior value proposition, right? The same high quality education, but at a far better value. That I think was one of his objectives when he set up Great Lakes after helping set up ISB, right? And again, what matters is what the program can do for you, right? In terms of the learning experience, and the single most important thing, and not many people ask, is about the faculty itself, right? Because they determine the core of the experience. Infrastructure and all the other things are secondary. But the core of the experience is determined by faculty and your peers, and I think that's what I think all participants have repeatedly mentioned.
Yeah, so Gautam, maybe I'll add a point here, right? The reason I'm the hijacking is, see, the professors that Mr. Balaji mentioned, right, are the same professors that taught our batch also. Say for still international business, it's Mr. Vaidinathan, and for leadership and culture, it's still Vijay Menon, and for negotiation, it's still Professor Veeravalli, and for marketing, it's still Professor EK. Right? So more than the stalwarts, maintaining or sustaining them all through for all the batches is again a great thing, right? Which is not a easy thing for to get their schedule to because we are all not full timers, right? Again, we are also in a off and off mode, right? Again, having their schedule and making sure that the student gets the best in the industry, right? Again, to add on what Balaji was saying, right? And sustaining that best in the industry, right? It's not that for one batch we covered people, so let's try to mix up, right? It doesn't happen at all. So those are some of the additional benefits. Again, as everyone is saying, I can't talk about something I've not experienced, but whatever I've experienced, I can guarantee on that they maintain that elite or that stalwart of professors helping the students, right? Second thing, maybe to add on, right? Because again, you are getting into this course. It's a business course, and you're going to end up doing some business or trying to maintain a business or run a business, right? So you always think about opportunity cost, right? Beyond beyond the value that you get, how much are you going to invest, how much are you going to get returns. So make those simple calculations. It's not that we are in the world of internet world, right, where you can know what are the courses, what are the cost, what is the timing of the course, tenure of the course, the arrangement, the logistics, everything, right? So I preferred Great Lakes because of proximity, because I not just my proximity, right? Tomorrow if you have any questions, how soon can I reach the professor to get an answer? Can I walk in if I can? So those are some of the things that are going to help you for a long-term association with an organization, not just looking for a 2 years course, right? It's like getting into a, you have to think about all those perspective also rather than just, okay, I have money, I'm doing this. No, not that way. MBA or any school you choose for an executive MBA, you think beyond your course timeline, you think beyond your money that you're investing, your return on investment. So a lot of those factors also you should for sure consider when you're taking these critical decisions. And I hope most of them who are coming into this course at this point of time would have already had a family, personal family, would have already been heading something or leading something. And there are a lot of pressure that you're going to go through both personally and professionally during this course of time. So think about all those external factors also before you take any decisions. Just want to add few toppings there.
Karthik, you spoke about proximity being a factor, but you are halfway across the world, but you are still available. So I appreciate that. You are accessible to us as much as the school is accessible to you. So really appreciate that. Yeah. So I have a question from Prashant. Will this course help me in switching career? I'm in operational transformation in financial services. However, would like to move to HR role without diluting my seniority. Suratna, you have changed tracks multiple times. I think perhaps you'd be the right person, and you have been in financial services as a startup and a business owner. I'm sure HR is an important part of your work as well, but more in terms of changing roles across different areas. What's your take on this?
Yes, I mean the entire course is designed for exactly the same questions that are coming in from people. It's like when you're confused if you want to change or not change. The course is designed in such a way it helped me also because I needed, like I mentioned before, clarity on a few subjects, and help me get that. So seniority, your experience itself makes you senior. So don't worry about changing roles at the same position. That will happen because you get the best faculty again teaching HR if you're interested in HR, and then you can take a call. But as Karthik also pointed out, it's best to actually uh, uh, just join this course, and you got to be careful in analyzing it. But this course is designed because of confusion. Because if you're confused in a career which way to go, this course is perfect. So So yeah, it'll help you massively in changing courses, because I was an operations guy, and then I wanted operational knowledge. I was a finance guy. I wanted operational knowledge, and Great Lakes, the course, it deep dive into each and every aspect of it, and then help me get clarity in what I want to do. So yeah, if you're expecting to go to HR, or if you're expecting to go into quality control, or you're expecting to go anywhere, I personally feel that yeah, this is the course that will help you do that.
Yeah, and I think that's a real value proposition of doing an MBA, right? You learn across different areas in a short period of time, right? What you'd have otherwise had to spend 5-10 years to learn, you'd be learning, in a very short period of time, and you get exposure in areas that you may not otherwise get. So at least that gives a starting point, right? And a lot of competencies are common across the board, whether it's in marketing, finance, and all. For example, your communication skills, people skills, your analytical skills, those are all transferable across the areas. What is something that you can't transfer is maybe the specific domain knowledge, but doing an MBA would give you certain level of understanding about each of the areas, right? So that gives you a starting point. And as you learn, right, and with the competences that you have, you should be able to do well across areas, right? And the entire proposition of the program is to take people from functional managers to general managers, right? That's the real purpose of the program, right? And when we say general managers, you have to look at every aspect of the program, right? Mr. Balaji earlier spoke of being a mechanical engineer, but now, he would be talking about financial performance, right? With his CFO, CEO, and all of that, right? So once you get to a general manager role, you'll have to deal with every aspect of the business. You will be responsible for the team that you have, right? The hiring, motivation, goal setting, all of that, right? So by default, you are handling a HR aspect as well, right? You may not be a HR person, but your core focus as a business head would be people, right? Mr. Balaji, you'd like to add to that?
No, you have addressed it already.
Okay, okay, great. So there's a related question. Vinay has 16 years of experience in sales, and his question is, how can one become a general manager with this course? Again, he's also willing to start his own dealership business in mechanical engineering products. How will the course add value for setting up a business venture with only sales experience? So Balaji and Suratna, you'd like to handle the two different questions in here. One is how to become a general manager. Second is, can you start your own venture with only sales experience to begin with?
Probably I can take the first portion of it,
Yeah,
and Mr. Suratna can refer to the second portion.
Yeah.
Like what we spoke so far is, you are strong in one vertical, that is, you are in sales department for 16 years. So your depth of knowledge in sales is like what Karthik was saying. It is normally a T model. Like you have a depth of knowledge in one area and a width of knowledge across functions. So what your industrial experience has given you is 16 years of experience in sales. What this academic experience can give you is exposure to the other domains of the organization. For example, you'll be talking about finance, you'll be talking about procurement, you'll be talking about operations, human resource. So all strategic management, how the organization, how you see a vision for the organization. So all those other aspects of management comes into your academics. And once you are able to mix both, you never lose your depth of knowledge, which is going to be your base. Along with that base, if you are able to use the width of the knowledge that you gain from this curriculum, then then the next part of it is your ability to market yourself. Just because you do a course, nobody knows that you have done a course. So how you exhibit yourself in forums, how you handle situations, how you show your executive presence in organization, those are all the things that you start doing once you complete this course. Then once you go back to your profession, then if you're able to extend all those things, nothing will stop you from becoming a general manager. That's what my personal experience says. Yeah, you can add on to it, Karthik, if you want.
Yeah. So now if you want to connect this with potentially starting own business, And I personally feel that, sales experience is the best experience you can have to start a business, right? Everything else you can acquire, figure out, solve problems, hire people. But fundamentally, to make a business successful, you should know what your customers want and be able to sell, right, to survive the day. But Suratna, you can, share your perspective becoming a business owner.
Yeah, sure. The second part of the question, I'll address that bit. Basically, the idea is this course. It makes you learn so many different subjects, topics, and also interacting with your peers. That'll guide you in whichever direction you want to pursue. Right. Here he's spoken about mechanical engineer, leadership business, and mechanical engineering, and like you said, he's done sales. Sales is the best function to actually. Do well in, because everyone is looking for salesperson. So sales is a great example. If you're in sales, you can probably with guidance and education, you can get into any which function that you please. But yeah, so coming back to the question, yeah, obviously it'll help you out, because it helped me massively. Strategy. There's a course on entrepreneurship also, even design thinking. All these factors will come in once you join this course, because that will clear your mind absolutely beyond doubt. Which way you should go. It's based by mathematics, it's based by science, and also some sort of some part of emotional engagement also comes in. So this course will help you. Yeah, absolutely, it will help you massively if you're from converting from sales to starting your own business. It helped me in starting my own business now. It helped me massively.
Just going back to the previous question of moving into HR, I can actually give an example. I just realized Karthik said last year we had a webinar where Mr. Shailesh Merchant was there. He's actually a head of Cholamandala Insurance, head of HR. I remember him saying he started his career in a coffee plantation in operations, right? And from operations in such a different area to becoming head of HR at an insurance company, that's a transformation that can happen. So that's a great example of people being able to transition to very different areas, right? So hopefully that further answers the previous question. There's a question from I think I don't see the full name, but I think Vengal. Why this course is tenured for 2 reasons? Is there a specific reason for this long term? So first of all, I think the program is about 21 months, and that's pretty much standard for most MBA programs. It's not right. You should compare this with a proper, rigorous MBA program and not some, let's say, a short-term certificate course, right? Because short-term courses are typically meant to help you with one specific area, right? You want to learn about a certain aspect of business or a certain area of competence, right? Whereas this is a general management program which tries to help you gain a certain level of competency across very different areas, right? You have marketing, finance, human resources, OB, leadership, negotiations, and so on, right? Across many different. Then you have project work in different areas, right? So where you not just learn, but you have to also practice, and that takes time. It takes time to internalize, right? It takes time to transform, right? So anything that you do just superficially is not really going to help you transform for the long term. If you have to have deep transformation, you need to invest the time and effort in doing something which is, let's say, a little more in depth, right? Karthik, you have done it most recently. If you can actually, I'll broaden the question to why don't you share in terms of the learning experience, right? How is a course delivered? The typical, let's say, elective or a course where the formal teaching and all that, and then the coursework and so on, the project work. So if you can just give a brief overview, I think that's going to help everyone in terms of understanding the learning experience.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. Yeah. I think one disclaimer that I will start, right, because again I said it in my last webinar also that ours was a COVID affected batch, right? So I think Suratna said that his last term was COVID, but our starting term itself was started in COVID. Right? I think now it's back on track. For us, I think there were some deviations because not everyone was able to travel. We had a lot of regulations, and we were not allowed to travel through flights and all those things, right? But the reason I'm starting off with that is that the way Great Lakes handled that situation, right? Mm, yeah, safety first, everywhere and anywhere. But beyond safety, how can the cohort be learning together? Then they immediately switched on to online mode, right? And yeah, but most of us were not happy with the online mode because we signed off for a in-person mode. But eventually, the entire world moved to online mode. So Great Lakes was not an exception, right? But what happened is that became a norm, right? That people started using that online as a fashion. But I think now we pulled back everyone to offline. That we have to do or we have to be in residence. So that is one thing that also helped me to choose, right? The reason being that I went around or I was looking across the courses, right? This one particularly had a nice way of putting a residency program that it's continuous stretch of 8 to 9 days, right, including your 5 working days. So 2 weekends plus the 5 working days. Then the people who has to travel from other places of India, it was easy for them, and even outside of India, it was easy that you take that block leave and you come here, immerse yourself in the residency, then go back and you get some online modules also, right? But there were other courses that you have to travel every weekend, you have to spend or kind of be at the campus for every weekend or alternate weekends. All those things, at least it's going to take much more energy and effort compared to this blocked residency pattern, right? That is one thing. And second thing, right? The I think all the cases that were discussed, right? It's all Harvard Business Review cases, HBR cases. So any B school for that matter, even if you take INSEAD or even Harvard, they use the similar cases, right? So there is no that is where we are on par with the world-known business schools with respect to the case analysis, right? The case analysis for all the programs or all the subjects, all the modules that you do, right? Be it marketing, service marketing, or sales and distribution, or be it AI, be it project management, right? Everywhere we used to do cases, and we used to have pre-course, course, and any post-course also, right? The pre-course, maybe some modules, the pre-course will start before even you are in campus, right? They will set up some half an hour or 1 hour to give you a preface of what you're going to get into. Then the course will have the case discussions. You will have some the online sub or panel discussions or class discussions or class presentations, followed by I think the post course, right? But for sure that 9 days are going to be grueling. It might start at 6 a.m. or it might go until 9 a.m. You will have submissions to do that night and you have to prepare for next day. That is going to be grueling, and for sure the program or the 2 years of the program is going to be tough. You have to make up your mind. You have to make sure. See, some of the other things that helps you, right? It gets you to the point of delegate whatever your team members. If you're not there, how can you delegate? How can you empower them? These are some of the indirect learnings that you get from the course, right? Because the even if you're an CEO, the company has to run without you, right? For at least for a monotone for some point, right? So those are some of the things that you management lessons that you get indirectly, that you come here, immerse yourself, you make sure the business runs even if you're not there. Go back, pick up on the priorities, get that clarified, get that cleared, then get into the business, right? So that itself is a management lesson that you get because of the program, the structure the program follows, right? And yes, again the professors great, top notch, and again you have this AGBI, right? The incubation center, wherein I heard some of the people are looking for a startup to set up after this course, right? So they also, or Great Lakes also helps you. If you have an idea, pitch it up, and your the coordinator can take it along, and you can start your discussions, and they help you from scratch. until your idea is getting into the hands of investors, right? And there are support available for that apart from your course. So that is also an added advantage with Great Lakes. And your project work, right? I think there is an equal weightage to project work, and your guide helps you and takes you along your project work, right? And one thing that they do good is that they start the project work very early, which doesn't pressurize you at the last term, that you take care of your subjects and also project work, right? So these are some of the good things that happens, and which we also enjoyed. So maybe Gautam, that helps the prospective students in some manner. The information is shared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Hello.
Thanks for that detailed overview, Karthik. There's a question from Vidyadharan on whether one can take a pause and restart midway to the program due to any commitments to travel abroad or any other reason. Vidyadharan, definitely there's a provision for that. If you have to stop the program, you can come back and do the program any specific term or the rest of the program with subsequent batches. Up to the next 3 years, it's fine. So you can complete in 5 years. Beyond that, in exceptional cases, again, you can discuss, right? We have, last year we had somebody from Godrej and Boys who had just 1 term left, and due to some business reasons had to skip that term then, and he came back after almost 6 years to complete that. But typically up to 5 years, I think that's as part of the policy you are allowed, and beyond that you'll have to get the approval of the program director. So definitely there's a provision for you to pause the program, travel, take care of any business requirements. Question from Prashant: also pursue fellowship post this course, will that be sufficient? Prashant, the typical requirement for PhD programs are having 16 years of formal education. This is valid both for India and US, right? And I'm not sure about XPM, how many people pursued, because it's already something that they're pursuing after like 15, 20 years into their careers. But from a PGPM program, which is also technically a certificate program, but it's also our flagship full-time MBA program. We have had people who have pursued MBA, especially in the US. Some are doing it in India as well. And one of them, Professor Anand Krishnan, he went to US, did his PhD, and became a professor at ISB as well. He was, in fact, voted among the best faculty in one of the years there. So it's very much possible as long as of formal education, right? You can check on the websites of different schools the fellowship requirements, right? And you'll find the eligibility criteria there, both US and Indian schools. I'm not too sure about the European schools. The other thing is Great Lakes itself would very soon be starting a PhD program, most likely from next year onwards. So that may be another opportunity for anyone to pursue a PhD as well. We already got the approval, so we are currently in the planning stages to launch that. This question from Rajesh is from project management in IT. Has 23 years of experience and 10 years of experience in operations management, 13 years in project management. If he missed the question, it looks. Okay, the question is, how can I be better with this course? Any one of you want to address that? I think it's a general question. I think that's been addressed in across all the other questions as well. I think how one can benefit from the program, right? I think in a very short summary, in simple terms, it can help you grow from specific functional roles to a general management role. That's what the program is all about. Question from Mohan Krishnan on, can you share more about the startup incubator? So Great Lakes has a startup incubator under the Atal Innovation Mission of the government of India, right? So it's a public-private partnership, right, from both from the government and Great Lakes, and it's run separately with its own team, but it's housed within the Great Lakes campus. So it has access to the campus, and the vice versa, the campus has access to the incubator. That companies which are getting incubated, which have nothing to do with Great Lakes itself, but are part of the incubator. Similarly, students, right, if they have startup ideas, they can pursue the incubator has two aspects, right? One, a mentorship network, right, which gives you access to intellectual capital. Second, it has access to some investors, so that's financial capital. Third, you actually have some tools, right? For example, it has its AI lab. There is a 3D printing lab, right? So these are, for example, for prototyping and so on. You have access to some of those tools, right? Or content creation lab. So those are things that are more of infrastructural facilities, right? So you can leverage that in case you are looking at pursuing any startup ideas. I mean, this you can do as part of the program, or otherwise as a startup, you can be part of the incubator as well. I think we addressed most of the questions. I think we'll take one final question and we'll wrap up with that. Any advice, right? I think a lot of questions would be about the program and what happens after the program, but I think I always thought it's equally important to know what to do before the program and what to do in addition to, right? Because unlike the early stages of your career where you typically are doing things that others tell you to do when you're in school and all, now everybody, is in a already well experienced, in control of your careers and so on, right? I think any advice, guidance on what to do before the program and during and after the program, I think that is something that would be valuable, not so much from the program perspective, but in general as advice coming from senior professionals and leaders in the industry. So any of you can go first.
My advice will be is to just to define your why. Why do you want, before going to the class, it will be always better. You don't board a bus and you don't get into a bus and see where it goes. You always identify where you want to go and then board the bus. So it's the same way. You have decided to do a MBA program. So what do you want to achieve after completing this program? If you are clear with that at the time of starting the course, then your path can also lead you towards that. So it will be like a good process to have an introspection. Why you are attending this program? What do you want to achieve after this program? And what is that I would like to do differently from now on? So that will be one statement. If you are able to introspect, define, and clearly document it, so that after the course, you can again go through it and see whether I wanted to do this for this, whether I am there, or else if I'm not there, what should be the course correction? So that sort of clarity in thought before enrolling the program will always guide you. That was what I did personally. So that was really instrumental for me. I could understand, yes, this is the course. I don't know anything about finance, so I should not lose anything on finance. I want to know much deeper into it. So what else can I do? How can I make use of the library? So those sort of planning I was able to do. So that is one thing which will really help before joining the program. If you define your objectives very clearly upfront, then it makes your process clear. That is one suggestion that I would like to give.
Suratna, you'd like to add?
Not advice as such. I would just advise that you should just have an open mind when you come into this program, and I agree with Balaji what he said, that yeah, if you figure out where you want to be and why you're doing this MBA, once you decided, you just come in with an open mind and don't be. I think if you come with an open mind, then you're more open to ideas and more open to adapting new system, because as even Karthik said, it is going to be pretty hard on everyone for the first week when they come here, and then the weeks thereafter. and to complete all the terms. So just come with an open mind and you get best. That's the only because Great Lakes, like I mentioned before, I'll be ever grateful to Great Lakes because of the fact that the faculty, the staff, everyone around. If you just notice the entire campus, which I used to do, sometimes take a subject off, and everything it's what you Great Lakes has come to a stage. I feel that what you do what you teach, because the way everything is to run so smoothly with all the staff, the canteen, everything is to run. I never used to see any conversation happening, but everything is to run very smoothly, and so therefore that's not a broader topic, but I'm just saying just keep an open mind will help you learn and adapt much faster, even in hard situations where, as Karthik mentioned, in a week's time, sometimes you probably won't get sleep 2 3 nights. Yeah.
Karthik, any practical advice?
No, it's more than advice, right? I just want to compliment what Balaji and Ms. Suratna was saying, right? And this is what I heard in one of the great professors' class also, right? So, as Balaji was saying, right, what is that you want to get out of it, right? A different way to look at it is this is the real tip that was given to our cohort, at least, right? Our batch, that what is the role you're looking at after 5 years or after completing your MBA, right? Go get the job description of the role, do a gap analysis. Where are you today? What is that role is looking for? What is the gap? And what are you going to learn from this course to fill the gap? So that by the end of the course, without you knowing, subconsciously you are transitioning to the role that you are looking at, right? This is the tip that was given, and this has struck my mind like anything. And I have given you this tip without even you getting into the classroom, but we got this after getting into the classroom from a stalwart professor. So but this is a very very practical or very guiding tip, right? That understand, and this course for sure will easily get you what you require to fill the gap, or it is your duty to navigate in the course and see what are all the gaps, how do we fill it. So that by the end of the course, without anyone knocking your door, the offer is in your hand. This is one tip that I would ask the prospects to take it, or hopefully that will help them for long term also. But yeah, adding or complementing what Balaji and Suratna said, right? So this is another thing that I want to help them with. Yeah, and thanks for this opportunity, Gautam, again. Yeah.
And the pleasure is mine, and I think everybody else participating has benefited. Um, Let me sum it up. I think all of you shared different points. One, be clear about your goals. Right, that's important. I think that's important in everything that we do. Right, knowing what our goals are. That's half the uh, uh, journey. Right, rest is solving it, but knowing what we want. Second, having an open mind, being curious, because at the end of the day, to learn, you have to unlearn also. Right? You may be coming from a particular function. You think that's the most important thing, but now you should learn to appreciate others. Right? As it came up earlier, like, you don't appreciate HR enough. Right? Most people, you see that as, people earlier in their career, they see that as something that at best support service, at worst it's a nuisance. Right? But as you go higher up, you see that's a very, very critical role. Right? It's important to look at those aspects, right? Not just business aspects, not just sales or costs, but people have become the most important focus area. So being open and curious, right? And again, like, be willing to learn, being prepared for that, and learning from each other. One thing, practical stuff that I can add is, some of you, if you don't have the habit of regularly following business news, or let's say reading any books, please build that habit, because that accumulates over a long period of time. Right? You don't get perspectives built in a few days. right? It builds over a period of time as you keep getting exposed to more things, as you keep connecting the dots, right? You'll become a better decision maker, right? Once you have that accumulated knowledge, right? Because the basics remains the same, right? You take a fresher out of a business school, he would have read perhaps the same books, uh, right? Being exposed the theoretical concepts, right? But what's the difference with the CEO? Obviously, he has a lot of experience. He has learned and assimilated so much more, right? That you can start connecting all of that, right? So the PGXPM is just a foundation. I think what you continue to learn and connect with your own work and what's happening around the world, that is what is going to help you internalize, practice it in the long term. And the rewards will follow as you demonstrate higher capabilities, right? As Mr. Balaji said earlier, it has to come out in what you do, right? At your own work, people need to notice that, right? So it's important to practice it, and I think that's one of the aspects of the program as well. We have project work, right, where you work on some problem within your own company and try to solve that during the course of the program itself, right? So I think those are all valuable inputs. So I think with that clarity, I'm sure everybody would benefit from this. Just one question, I think that came up later from Himanshu. I already addressed in the message, but Himanshu had a question on, he's already enrolled for the XPM, but he saw there's a PGPM Flex program as well. What is the major difference? Apart from things like, the Flex is a weekend program. PGXPM is held once in 3 months on campus on a continuous basis, right? So that's a structural difference, but the primary fundamental difference is that what the program seeks to accomplish. The Flex is more like a full-time MBA delivered on a weekend mode, because the audience there is young professionals, somebody with, let's say, 2 to 7 8 years of experience. That's a typical profile of the Flex candidate. So the pedagogy, everything is customized for that, right? You have the objectives of a program, right, which is based on the objectives of the students as well. So that actually has more time spent in the classroom and all, because there's more hand holding, and it starts from the basics. Whereas the XPM is designed for senior professionals. Many have 15 20 years experience, like all our participants today had, but starting from 80 years experience, right? By the time you already spend significant amount of time, you are an expert, at least in the functional area, right? Typically you would be a manager as well, team leader, or even if there's small teams, right? So your requirements are different. You already understand a bunch of things. For you, time is more valuable, so it needs to be condensed, packaged in a manner leveraging your experience. So the XPM is designed for a different purpose. It's to take people from a functional management role and prepare them for senior management and general management roles, right? So these are very different programs. Of course, both are management programs, but the objectives are different, and accordingly the delivery is also designed. I hope that answers. I think we'll wrap up now. Thanks a lot again for joining, Mr. Balaji, Mr. Suratna, Karthik. It's a pleasure to have you here, learn about your journeys. A lot for me to learn as well, apart from all that the participants have benefited from. So thank you very much, and hope to connect in the future as well. And one of the things that came to my mind, Mr. Balaji, is that maybe we should do a case study with Turbo Energy, right? When we talk to folks in Godrej and Boys, and I realized that so many of the senior management are from Godrej and are from XPM, that we should do something there. Royal Enfield, same thing. So maybe we should do that, and maybe connect later on. Right? It's wonderful to have alumni who are doing very well, leading businesses. Right? It's always inspiring and motivating. So thank you, everyone, and thanks to all the participants, and wish you all the very best. So we'll wrap up the webinar here.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you all.
Thanks, God.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend, everyone.